BYU is the best story in March Madness right now. BYU has become the best story in March Madness right now. Reason being, and what I'm going to do is pull up the bracket here. Who else is there? This is the first time in like a gajillion years we don't have a double-digit, an 11 seed or worse heading to the Sweet 16. Like, let me read you some of these schools that are here, and then I'll explain to you why I think BYU is the very best story in March Madness right now, from Richie Saunders to Kiba Keita to even flipping, did you watch the video? Have you seen the video yet? It was heartbreaking watching Dawson Baker in the locker room. Let's see. Let's turn the audio on this. Dawson Baker's in the locker room during the BYU game. They set up a camera to catch a celebration just in case BYU is going to win, and instead it catches Dawson Baker's reaction to BYU. It broke my heart watching a guy who, oh my gosh. Before I describe to you, I will eventually get there why BYU is the best story in college basketball. You ever been trapped in the corner, you're just kind of ripping through? He didn't mean to hit the guy in the cojones, and here he is, clock winding down. And he's you're in a prison cell watching on television your team play in the round of 32 for a chance to go to the Sweet 16. It broke my heart. It was terrible. I hope all those referees have their eyes pried open and they have to watch Dawson Baker watch that over and over and over. But here are the teams that are in the Sweet 16 right now. Tennessee, Kentucky, Houston, Purdue. All of those are pretty big names. How about Alabama? They're up there too. Duke, Houston, even Big 12 schools aren't surprises. Auburn or Michigan, Ole Miss, Michigan State, Florida, Maryland, Texas Tech, Arkansas. Guess who Arkansas's coach is? That's right, John Calipari. So if you want to talk about schools that weren't supposed to be here, we don't talk about Kevin Young. Yeah, John Calipari's John Calipari. Always shocked he's winning in March. I mean, maybe based on his recent track record, but BYU is every school in the mid-major ranks or the independent ranks dream. Reason being, 4 years ago, if this happened to BYU, listen to this. I'm going to listen to this. 4 years ago, this happened to BYU. Who would they have celebrated with? There's a flag behind me that says Big 12 on it, has a Big 12 logo. When Houston wins, we all win. Despite Iowa State losing, right? Houston won. That helps us, the Big 12 conference. When BYU wins, Twitter is exploding with UCF fans and Cincinnati fans and Arizona fans saying they did it. We're proud of BYU today. Who was proud of BYU in independence? Whoa, that was tough. And now they have a family. You wandered in the desert for so long, wondering who was going to root for you as the underdog. And I think a bit of this. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I'm not a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I have utmost respect for every person at BYU who upholds that faith, who upholds the standards of BYU, who carries that faith. It's one of the largest growing faiths in the world. And BYU fans are serious about it. I appreciate that. I value that. As someone of faith myself, I get it. And dang, that's cool. But BYU gets a lot of hate for it. Some of the hate is packaged interestingly, right? We heard earlier this year that Arizona chant the Big 12 never really responded to, never put a fine on Arizona for. And you hear Wisconsin chanting coffee or caffeine or whatever it was at BYU free throw shooters. And there are some things done in jest, but BYU has by and large been made fun of by a massive population in this country for a long time for what the university stands for. And what the university stands for is a religion. If people made fun of Notre Dame the way they make fun of BYU, universities would be fined in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But for some reason, BYU is the exception. And now here they are in the Sweet 16 for the first time since Jimmer Fredette. And a couple of years ago, when this team came into the league, pundits like me didn't know what to think. Not because they're religious, not because of the religious deal, but because football's coming from the wilderness. The WCC a couple of years ago, like, who's celebrating with you? Portland? San Francisco? Congrats, BYU, right? And now they're in a conference where I said 3 years ago, 3 years ago, I don't know if they can compete in football. I don't know if they can compete in basketball. I don't know if BYU can be a mainstay in this conference because the Big 12 is so parity-filled on the gridiron and dominant in basketball. How do you walk into this league having been pretty darn bad, if not mediocre, in the WCC, and you walk in this league and dominate and find a way to win? And they have. And they have. They committed. They showed the world what it looks like when you give a mid-major. I'm going to say it. BYU is a mid-major in independence. The WCC is not even the Big East. They showed what happens when you give a school that's committed to winning, that's committed to investing, that's committed to being a part of something bigger than just their own little bubble of college athletics. If you do that, you can compete at the highest level. Some universities don't want to do that. Some of the new schools in the Big 12 have not showcased their want to do that, especially from an investment standpoint. BYU has a school 40 minutes away that's been doing this at a very high level for a long time. It's been doing this for a decade in the Pac-12 and now the Big 12. And BYU had to sit in the shadow of that, knowing that Utah got to be a power program winning conference championships and BYU was independent. And now they come to the Big 12 and they immediately make the Sweet 16. And then on top of that, before they go to the Sweet 16, their coach left, right? So to me, there are all of these factors that pile on that make BYU an impeccable story. Richie Saunders, not a lot of glitz and glam. First one in, last one out. Makes his free throws, coach's kid, you know. His great-grandpa invented the tater tot. That's the best we got. We don't have the number 2 player in the country. I mean, you will, by the way, number 1, actually. You know, BYU doesn't have a bunch of 4- and 5-star blue-chip prospects. You go in the portal, you put it together, you get kids that want to follow a very strict code of conduct. And my goodness, the last time BYU was in the Sweet 16, that code of conduct came in handy or anti-handy more than ever. And now, in front of the world, you get to carry your faith that BYU puts so paramount. You get to carry the Big 12 conference. You get to carry a fan base that was lost for a long time, that just wanted something to be a part of for a long time. And those 3 letters on the middle of your jersey in March Madness represent the one team that everyone's going to count out. When they make their, most likely to win, 1 through 16 power rankings, BYU will be 13, 14, 16 maybe in some of these. And I here's what I say to that. Keep doubting. Keep doubting. We'll be sitting here eating our tater tots. That's it. This March has not been very mad. and there isn't that, Bradley or even Drake still hanging around. There's not an FGCU to root for. So I beg of you, Big 12 fans, if you want a school, a team, a program that has been underrated, that people still don't give the respect it deserves, if you want that school, that program to root for, I beg of you. It's about time to root for BYU. And certainly every other Big 12 team in the Sweet 16. But they aren't really the story of March. They've been here before. They do this. Even Texas Tech basketball has been so... They went to a national championship a couple of years ago. This is new for BYU. And the more teams that step up to put the Big 12 on the map even higher and higher, even bigger and bigger, the better. And BYU is doing that. Somehow, that new school that came in from the mid-major ranks is doing that. And it rocks. Kevin Young, my hat goes off. Tom Holmoe, my hat goes off. To that university, to its fan base. Newark? They're sending you to Newark, I think. Is that right? Old? Man. Ooh. Newark, New Jersey. If I can tell you one thing, listen good. Share this. Clip this. Share it. If you're a BYU fan, I've paid hundreds of dollars, almost gone broke. Don't be irresponsible. Almost gone broke buying tickets to national championships, seeing the Baylor Bears play, to NCAA tournament games, to college football bowl games. Almost gone broke doing it. Worth every penny. Win and lose. Worth every penny to represent the logo, the brand, the people. If you have the opportunity this week, Newark, New Jersey, not much to do. Find a way to get out there. Drive through the night. If you're a student, drive through the night, baby. It'll all be worth it. You'll remember it. You'll love it. This has been It Always Will Be. The rest of this week, oh my gosh, great coverage in the Big 12. All the games, all the teams, locked on. Thanks for making it your first listen every single day. Dose Grande.